Buenos días, buenas tardes o buenas
Good
noches.
morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to this session, this roundtable entitled Gaps and Challenges for the Participation of Young People with Disabilities. This is part of the Global Summit of Young People with Disabilities is organized by the International Disability Alliance, the IDA, through the Young Mental Health Norway and supported by the government of Norway. I will briefly walk you through the webinar. The webinar will be recorded. We have interpretation into international sign language, and we have simultaneous interpretation into English and Spanish. We also have subtitles in English. There is an option on the lower part of the screen with closed captions. If you need subtitles in a different window, you have a link on the chat box. Please take a few moments to choose your preferred language or option, and you could do so on the lower part of the screen. You will have the option to silence the original audio. Please don't do so, because if you silence the original, you will miss some parts of the audio. So let's take a few moments so that you can choose your preferred language. If you have any questions for the panelists, please use the option of Q&A or write your question on the chat box. Our team will be monitoring the chat box during the event, and we will attempt to reply to all your questions. We will leave some time at the end to answer all your questions. Please note that we cannot connect all cameras because we are limited by the Zoom platform. If we don't have enough time, we will give priority to live questions and those questions that are relevant to the debate. If you have any accessibility problems, send an email to the host account or send an email to webinars@ida.org. The team will try and solve any technical issues as soon as possible. We ask all speakers to stick to the time allocated and to speak slowly so that interpreters and subtitlers can follow. We would like to thank the logistics and communications team of the International Disability Alliance for their amazing work and their consideration for making this possible and for making the participation of all of us here today possible. Thank you so much. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending of where you are in the world. It is a great pleasure for me to say hello. My name is Antonio Palma. I would like to express my gratitude for your participation. Thank you for being here today in this youth summit, especially in this section of the Americans. Welcome to everyone on behalf of the organizers and specifically of the Youth Committee of the International Disability Alliance and the Latin American Network for People with Disabilities and their Family. Welcome to the Roundtable Gaps and Challenges for the Participation of Young People with Disabilities. To me, this is a great pleasure being able to share with my colleague Eileen Fidel this session. I will give her the floor. Hello, Eileen, how are you? I'm fine. Well, it's a great pleasure for me to be participating in this round table, especially for people, young people with disabilities. We know that the Article 29 of the Convention says that the participation in political and public life should be enjoyed on an equal basis and not leaving anyone behind. Especially when we have disabilities, these spaces need to be fought for and they need to be visible so that we live in an inclusive world for everyone. Thank you Eileen, it's very interesting what you're saying. Let me tell you, it's going to be great to be sharing with you and our amazing panelists our experiences, especially with our fantastic audience. First of all, I would like to remind you that it's not necessary to have a cape to be a superhero. I'm sure that all of us, all of those who are participating here today, are amazing heroes. Let me tell you, Eileen, and let me tell you, dear audience, that today we have with us Irene Cuevas. She's from Altagracia, Córdoba in Argentina. She's 19 years old. She's a person with many disabilities. She's on her 6th grade of secondary, specializing in social sciences. She's about to graduate. Congratulations, Irene. She participates in organizations for human rights such as Meta since 2018, in Luz de Frida since 2019, and from this year she's participating in Reconectades. We will have with us today a participant from Kenya, Sipora Nitinie. She has albinism. She is a single mother of a 7-year-old. She works in handicrafts and she is the vice president of the community organization Mobility Taruesh. She's a committee member of Youth Indigenous Persons with Disability at the Global Network. These are amazing people. Who else do we have with us today? Well, it's an honor to have here with us today as well this person, Natalie Peso. She is an activist for the human rights of people with disabilities. She's also a psychologist, an expert in marketing, especially in social media. Thanks to her videos, she's become an influencer, and she's here with us. And we also have with us a Paralympic sports person, Abbas Karini. He's participated in 6 series of swimming championships and in 2 international competitions. He's got 25 national medals from his country, Afghanistan, and he's won 6 international medals. And also, last but not least, we have with us Milika Beljovic. She's an activist from the Impact 29 Association. She tries to guarantee accessibility in her country and the application and full implementation of the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. She is also an activist for mental health, and she belongs to a group called HEART, which is for suicide prevention, which belongs to the global organization Befrienders. So we have very important people with us, and we will learn a lot from them. Indeed, we will. This radio show will be packed with new knowledge, and we have high-level panelists, and also we have a high-level audience as well. Everyone that's here with us at the moment. Indeed, of course, you're right, Eileen. So what do you think, my dear panelists, my dear audience, and my dear Eileen? Shall we start by discussing the kinds of barriers for participation experienced by young people with disabilities in their own communities? Please tell us your experience. First of all, I would like to listen to Irene's experience. Please tell us about it.
Muchos compañeros no comparten conmigo porque para todo
Many
necesito más
colleagues,
salir del aula conmigo en mi silla,
well,
comprar
have to help me to do my chores and go to different parts of university. I have to look for groups outside my neighborhood because when people don't know me, they ask me what's my problem. They don't talk to me, they talk to my assistant and they look at me weirdly and they take a step back. But when I go walking on a tour and I go to the hairdresser, some people recognize me.
Y es que ese es el punto. Hay muchas veces que
So
no
that's the thing. Sometimes we don't understand that differences are what enriches our world. In your case, Sipora, can you tell us about your experience a little bit? Sipora?
Good evening, everyone. I'm Zipporah from Kenya. Okay, the challenges we have in our community, we as youth, indigenous youth with a disability, one is communication. Sometimes we are not getting full communication on how to participate maybe in the society or in the community. Sometimes there are meetings, but we youth with a disability cannot be able to attend, especially we get the communication at the last meeting, leading us not to participate. Another barrier we have is that language. Some of us as youths, indigenous youth with disability, the language they are using, maybe it's only one language, whereby we don't have specialists for sign language interpreters, leading them to be left behind, making them not to participate in the society or in the community. Another thing we have as a barrier is discrimination. We indigenous youth with disability face a lot of discrimination in the community. Sometimes they can't give us to participate because they say that we are like, it's like now we are not complete in the community. Sometimes they say that it's like, it's a sin to have a person with a disability, it's an omen. So you're not given that chance to participate in the community, leading us to be discriminated totally. And they can't see us that we can even view issues. They just, if you talk about something, they just say, we know that, we knew you could say that. It's like it's hurting, leading not to talk and feel discriminated in the community. Also, lack of commitment. In the society, we as youth with disability, we are not given time to be committed like other people. If maybe, for example, I am a person with albinism, I can stay where there is a lot of sun. So we can't be committed in the work they do, especially in our community, we are pastoralists. I can't go to look after cattle or other things. So I can't be given that chance to commit myself in usual activities. So commitment is also a problem under youths as indigenous youth with disability. Thank you.
Es que sí, no hay nada más duro que la
Yeah, it's
discriminación.
true. There is nothing harder than discrimination. But in your case, Natalie, what obstacles or barriers have you found? Have you met?
Okay, I myself, I have met discrimination whereby
Yo me he
since I am a
encontrado con
person,
discriminaciones muchas veces.
yeah. Okay, for example, on
Por
my side,
ejemplo,
according to discrimination,
de mi parte, con discriminación,
okay, the problem I have is since I'm a person with albinism, especially I myself, I can't see far. So I'm discriminated that I can't be given some work to do because I can't see well. Another thing, I can't be sent somewhere to collect something or fetch something because of sun. So it's like I'm discriminated because I can't work like others. So it's a challenge, according to me, especially in discrimination. Maybe, for example, like now, I am vying for MCA seat, a member of county assembly. I'm vying for a seat in member of county assembly. Some of our past people in our community, because now they discriminate me that I'm not able like other people, they start saying, no, we can't give someone like this voters because what can she do to us? And in herself cannot be able to work like other people. So discrimination is a big barrier, especially in our community and especially to myself.
Sorry, thank you so much, Nipora. Just we are going to our other panelists to respond the same questions, and then we can come back with you with other questions. Thank you so much.
Claro, gracias, mi estimada Rosario.
Yes, thank you, dear Rosario.
Me gustaría que me
I would
respondieran
like
primero las habas.
to ask the same people Abbas, luego Milik.
Hello, everyone. Well, it's an honor for me to be here, and thank you for the inviting. So in a society, in a community that I'm living, you know, me as a Paralympic athlete, you know, every time that I swim, you know, I motivate a lot of people, my teammates, and but over the years, I faced a lot of judgment. You know, when I go outside, when the people see me that I don't have arms, you know, I got judged a lot, and that's one of the problem in most of the society, that they don't see as a normal person. You know, we may miss some part of our body, but I believe that our heart and our mind is open, and we can achieve anything that we want in our life, any goal that we set. So nowadays, you know, the thing that need to be done is that we should be equally, all of us as a human being, and you know, every disabled person in the world, they should work on themselves to find their you know, their talent first, I think, and then pursue that and set the goals and go outside and, you know, show the society and the country that they're living among the people. You know, they should he or she should show their talent, and that way I think we can prove ourselves that it's okay if we have disability, but it cannot stop us for what we want to be. Okay, it's happened, like I was born without arms, and for many years even myself, I wasn't accepting myself this way, that why I was born this way. But for after many years that I worked so hard on myself, I realized that, you know, if I don't have arms, but my brain and my heart is open, and as long as my heart is open and my brain is open, I can be something, I can be part of the society. And it was so hard for my family and for the people that I was living with, the society. It was hard, you know, for them to understand me, and they were judging me on the wrong way, negative way, that I don't have arms and I cannot do anything. But you know, the God took on my arms, but he gave me all my talent to my feet so I could do all my work. And that way I proved the society and to the world, you know, me being a refugee for over 10 years. I've been in many different countries. In every country, in every society I have been, I had to prove myself. And through the sport, through swimming, I kept competing and I kept showing myself that you know, I'm capable of doing anything I want, and my disability cannot stop me. And that's the world has to see us equally with the other people. And we're all you know, we're all equal. Thank you.
It's been very interesting how you have exploited what you have, Abbas. And in your case, now, please, Milika.
Thank you, Antonio. Before I start, I have to thank all the dear people before me who actually tell the most important things specifically, and I'm really pleased that I'm the part of all this event. So as someone who's representing an informal organization and myself as well, based on my experience, but also the experience of other young people, I think the barriers are found in every aspect of our lives. Physical barriers, institutional, as well as social, and that's the part when we talk about discrimination. And I think it's especially challenging for young people, because we are talking about sensitive age, and all this has great impact on the mental health of young people as well as their future. So when I had my injury like 14 years ago, at that time I spent so many hours just thinking, am I worth now? Can I do anything for myself? Can I be capable? Because we grew in a society that doesn't validate us as a complete persons. So that's a fight and that's a struggle. At the same time, all of us had to pass, I guess. And when we founded Impact 21, we wanted to reach out to all young people and empower them, to share with them our experiences, the information we have, and to make them better aware of their rights, which is really important for me and for everyone, especially now when I'm someone who is active in this field and who's spending like every day of my life trying to make this world a better place and my country better for like young disabled people who are going to be the best versions of themselves. And maybe sometimes that sounds like a cliche, but I don't want to agree with people who are just leaving us behind, thinking that we can't do anything or we can't be the great. So I guess that's the start to just acknowledge we are here, we are worth, and we can do for ourselves. Thank you.
Antonio, con todas las exposiciones que han hecho.
Antonio, with all the sessions you have done, our panelists, I have a question which I want to say. What type of opportunities for participation have young people with disabilities and young people from your community? What can Milika tell me about that?
I'm sorry, Eileen. I'm sorry, Milika, but I think we involuntarily skipped Natalie. I think she was going to answer also the first question. I'm very sorry. I don't want to interrupt, but I think Natalie was going to also reply the question, the first question.
No.
First of all, thank you for the opportunity and for taking into account for this event. I think everything that has been mentioned is something I share, the part of participation and community activities. But for me, one of the most important things is opportunities for disabled youth, is lack of access to education and work environment, because in a company, there are a lot of people with disabilities who haven't been able to combine that with studying, and they are not employed for several reasons. If you think of people with disabilities or any people, they would say that they would like to work, but they can't find a job. But why does that happen? In my experience and doing some research on this subject, why we can't find a job is that most of employers believe that people with disabilities cannot do efficiently the necessary tasks, and they think that hiring disabled people has a high cost to accommodate us, and that is extremely it's closely linked to the fact that we live in a society where the adaptations needed for people with disability are extremely high, like buying a wheelchair or the equipment I need to be able to use a computer, as I mentioned before, has cost issues. There are solutions sometimes so that people with disability can integrate to the labor environment, but it's not easy because as people with disability, we don't have access to them. And in my case, if I don't have the technological adaptations that I need, I couldn't have finished my degree, or I couldn't be working as I am today. So the real question is if we are not being included because it is not known that this type of technologies exist, or it is thought that we can't do us. Need to think of the real reason why is it that we are not part of these environments.
Entonces yo retomo la pregunta
Then I
anterior.
would like to ask again the same question.
Me surge esta duda.
I have this question.
¿Qué impacta la falta de oportunidad
What is affecting the lack of opportunities to take part
en jóvenes con discapacidad de tu comunidad?
in people or youth with disabilities in your community? Please, I would like to address that question to Milika.
Yeah, thank you. Well, actually,
Gracias.
Natalie just said about her experience with finding a job. Also, besides working, it also affects education, any social activities, sports, and whatsoever, you can name it. But how does make them feel, or how does make that feel youth? I guess it's really discouraging and depressing, because it is often some basic things like going to the cinema or socializing with your friends, and those basic things and needs that do not differ from the needs of the young people. And when we put things that way, we feel this incredible injustice. Young people often stay in their homes. That was my situation. I was really spent like 4 years only with my parents and my brother. At that moment, I really was for nothing, trying to manage how will my life will look like after that. So that's reality. Young youth they depend on their parents, deprived of education to do the job they want, but with the thought that they are not capable or not good enough, and that is by no means true. This is also a kind of isolation, which probably many of us have felt at some point, and I believe that we must and we can change that. this is one of the ways when we try to connect and talk about those things, that no matter if I'm living in Serbia or some other part of the world, it's really that common thing, and we have to start like addressing it and trying to make it better.
Muy buena tu aportación. Yo recalco que
Thank you for your comment. I stress, as you said, it doesn't matter that we live, like, for example, in Caribbean, the Dominican Republic or Serbia. The taboos still there and the myths still there, and we are discriminated against. And they think that we are not capable to carrying out a work. What about Natalie from Panama? What can she tell me about that? I think that all human beings share certain features, and somehow we look at the same things. I don't think any of us elected to have a disability. In the end, it's something that we have to live with. And also the form that the way in the society we live is structured makes a difference in our quality of life, because they can either facilitate things for us or make them more complicated. Human beings are usually social beings, and it is important to be part of our community. We have productive and unproductive and non-productive days as everyone. And not having an education has repercussions in not being able to find a job. And families think that people with disability is just an overload or a burden for their families. And it wouldn't be like that if you could have the same opportunities as other person without disabilities. Constantly, people with disability face rejection, a door that closes on our noses or no as an answer. And I think we get used to this reality, and we get used to this. But this discrimination has a huge impact on our mental health. What you are just saying is basic, and because, as you said, societies is structured for, let's say, a certain people, for a certain stereotype. So when we with disabilities face a society, as you say, we get used to, for the lack of change of access from outside. Let's continue with Abbas.
You know, living in USA, of course, the US government and the people, US people, you know, they do their best to see us equally, and you know, that we have a lot of opportunities here to, you know, that we have to work so hard to pursue our dreams and goals, but it's not the same all around the world, all over the world, and there's a lot of problem that you know, people with disability faces, a lot of obstacles, and I think you know, we should you know, keep fighting and keep working hard to show ourselves, and until the society and the people outside understand that we're capable of you know, doing that what we want to do. As long as we do something positive, and that the thing that we do is making our society better and make the world better place, you know, the society and the people will you know, that they will accept us. I believe that we can make a lot of changing and make the world a better place by our talents and, you know, through our leadership and speaking. And we all have to always stand up and fight for what's right for us and for disabled people. But one of the things that I faced in sport in my whole career, one of the things that I realized that we don't have a lot of fans like others, regular people that you know, have arms and legs, that they, you know, play any sport, they have a lot of fans and people go there and watch them. But you know, when I see that I went like 2-time world championship and 1-time Paralympic games and lots of other international events, but you know, I don't see a lot of fans, a lot of people doesn't watch us. I don't know why that, you know, the reason that they don't like to watch as we play or we compete. But I hope that one day it will change, that, you know, the people around the world, that they will see us equally as the other people. And these are the things that I you know, face. But of course, over all the years, that a lot of obstacles and a lot of things try to stop me, but I always keep shining and keep shining, and that's the only way to go through it and keep showing up. You know, no matter what, we shouldn't give up on anything that we want, and we have to help each other out. And thank you, and that's it.
Gracias a ti y de antemano.
Thanks to you, and I can tell you that you already have a fan in me. As you said, the lack of normalization, as we said, of people with disability, as you were saying, the fact that normal and a fully able athlete has such popularity, and a disabled athlete don't. They don't even have enough media coverage. As you said, the world can be improved with a lot of work, and it can be a kinder world and more inclusive world. Let's go to Irene.
Lo peor es que mis compañeros del colegio creen
The
que no
worst
puedo
is that
conocer.
me schoolmates, they they don't invite me to their houses because they say that my wheelchair can't get in, and because I need an assistant, they don't like that person to go to their houses. They don't fall in love with me because they think my sexuality doesn't exist. They look at me as if I was a child, and they pity me. I feel better in people with disabilities as well, because we work in empowering ourselves and how to change the society. It's important and marvelous point, Irene. This patronization, the patronizing of people is something that we face. They believe that we are asexual because we have a disability, and sometimes the society itself forces us to share with people, other people with disabilities, when this should be a rainbow where uh, you support me and I will support you with the disability.
Okay, can you try? Am I going to talk about the impacts for lack of participation?
Yes, Dipora, you have to talk about the impact. Sorry, Henry. About the impact of the lack of opportunities to participate. What is the impact on you and in the other youth in your community, and how do you feel about that, and how these people feel about this lack of opportunities to participate?
Okay, the impacts we have here is that we are feeling that we are left behind in the community or in the society. We as youth, indigenous youth with a disability, since we are not given communication in the right time, so we feel that we are left behind. Another thing that we see, we are not given equal opportunities since we are discriminated as indigenous youth with a disability. In the discrimination, we are not given equal opportunities like other people, leading us to feel that we are left behind, and it's an impact. We can see also we are not assessing equipment like hearing aids, white canes, and wheelchairs because of the same level that we are not being given that chance. That impacts lead us to be left behind because maybe, for example, I want to walk to somewhere and I don't have a wheelchair to use. Maybe I am a visually impaired, I need a white cane, but because I'm not given or taken care of to get that equipment, I'm feeling to be left behind. That impacts me to feel that I'm discriminated totally. Thank you.
Sí, sí, es
Yes, it's very true what you've just said. If they do not give us the devices, the equipment that's needed in order to be independent or in order to be able to do our things, then we cannot participate in society, fully in society. Antonia, what do you think of these opinions from our panelists? What's your opinion? Well, to be honest, this has enriched me tremendously. It's full of information and demonstrates what I said at the beginning, that we do not need to have a cape to be a superhero. All of us can be superheroes with actions that for other people might be very small or enormous for us because they changed the lives of other peoples. And now, in this part of the program, I would like to ask a question, but I don't want only our panelists to answer this question. I would like other people to answer, people who are listening to us, who are seeing us, because we'd be interested in reading their comments. And if you also have a question, remember, you can always write your questions in the chat and we can address them at the end. So here is the question, and I'll repeat, I'd like to everyone to answer this. First, the panelists and the rest of participants. What are the main barriers that people with disability, young disabled people face when in order to participate, and how can we eliminate those barriers? I'd like to hear your answers, and I would like to start with Sebora.
Okay, the eliminated barriers, we want it to be given information earlier, especially because they know we have different disabilities as indigenous youth with a disability. They should give us information earlier so that we can participate like other community or society people to eliminate that. Secondly, we should be given a chance to participate like others to see us that we are equal like other people in the community. We can also make decisions. We can participate in cultural activities, and this can be eliminated. Also, to be given equal opportunities. We should be given opportunities like in marriages to have families like others, given opportunities to participate in cultural ceremony like other people, and also to be given opportunities to own properties like others, and also to depend ourselves like other peoples in the community. By doing that, barriers can be eliminated. Thank you.
Excelente, excelente.
Excellent comments, excellent proposals that you've just formulated. And now I'd like to read, so you remember, please write in the chat, write your comments in the chat. And now I'd like to read the answers, but I'd also like to hear from Abbas. What do you say?
I think we all disabled people around the world should first, get the doubts that we have on ourselves. We have to get that out, and how we can do that is that we have to think positive all the time, because this is us that who can help us first, and we have to find out what we are and what we can be and who we are, and we have to spend a lot of time to create ourselves that what we really can be and what we're capable of, because as a human being we can be anything and we're capable of anything, because the mind is a very strong tool to create that. And then the outsiders, when we go outside and we do some performance and we do something positive, and they shouldn't doubt us that we cannot do. And this is very important, that that's how we can show our positive face and positive things that we can do and we're capable of.
Eliminate our doubts, our own doubts. Very interesting, that concept. What do the rest think? Could you please indicate in the chat? We'd like to read your comments. And Milika, can you please tell us what do you think?
Thanks again. On this particular issue, I would like to focus on the research we did as the organization Impact 21, and it was about orthopedic aids and the assistive technologies necessary for independent living of people with disabilities, especially youth in this case. As one of my fellow panelists said, we need our personal mobility to participate actively in our lives. So the right to personal mobility is often denied precisely because young people are not able to receive appropriate aids that will meet their real needs. Speaking of our country, Serbia, we can conclude that it is necessary to individualize the needs of each person with a disability. Transcribing aids is by no means universal, based solely on diagnosis and codes. I think actually I read that there is a case in other countries too, when we are there are criteria only on our diagnosis and not our real needs. So it is necessary to observe the current situation and be guided by it when going to the Commission. Also, two people with the same diagnosis do not have the same needs, and so the aid cannot be the same. It is wrong to think that people with disabilities are incapable and that's not necessary to invest money in our adequate aids. Also, investing in that would increase our functionality. The state would, we won't need some other treatments. So I think that our assistive technologies is really necessary for independent living and everything which leads to that. Thank you.
Claro, aplicar las
Yes,
tecnologías
apply technologies and give what people need, because we're all different. That's true. All of us here connected, we're all different, and the technology is a huge tool because it unites us, although in different places. But now I would like to listen to Natalie. Go ahead, please. I totally agree with the colleagues have said, but I'd like to add that one of the main barriers, for me at least, in the country where I live, is the lack of the people with disability can have risk. I'm sorry, but there's interference. There's two channels at the same time. I'm difficult for me to hear. But if we have lack of access, then we just have, we can't concrete our objectives and we can't do something because it's out of our control. I remember many times when I went to university that I had to change university because there was no access, the stairs, no access, there was no access to toilets as well. And when I was studying at university, the 2 people, 4 people had to lift me up in the wheelchair because it weighed 150 kilos, and they had to take me up. And I remember that they said that I couldn't take assistance in class with me because I was an adult and I had to be independent. And I told them, okay, fine, I'd like to be independent, but I had certain needs. And you're not understanding my needs. I'm trying here someone, not because I want to try someone with me, it's because I have a need for them. I cannot move my arms, so I need, because I'm paraplegic, so I need some certain help. And in that case, they did not understand what I wanted. So I think one of the main barriers is that there is ignorance, certain ignorance amongst our society towards the different types of disabilities. And as the previous panelist said, everyone is different. Everyone's different needs, they're unique. So you can't generalize this amongst everyone because we all need different things. So I believe certain what people believe about people with disability frightens people. Sometimes there's a lack of knowledge and people fear. And in some cases, society judges us based on our disability and not because we're able to do things. And that means they close doors on us. We don't have opportunities. So first of all, we have to work in order to make society aware of our disabilities, because once people are aware, things change. We can start working to be more to attain more inclusion. That's totally true what you just said. Totally concur what you just said. It's very important. We have to demonstrate that we are capable people, individuals. The young people are here are participating of very high caliber. We've seen this now. We've seen this this seminar, but we have to, and we want to listen. We want to continue. We want to listen to you, listen to your opinions, read your opinions. And now, Irene, what do you believe? Society does not recognize our potential and everything that we have to show them. They'll treat us, there's lots of barriers, not only architectural, but worse, the institutional barriers. We should eliminate barriers. We're in a society where we want to participate. Inclusion and participation are vital. Inclusion is participation, sorry. Inclusion is participation. What a lovely sentence. What a lovely phrase. Irene, what do you think? What our colleagues have said here I think it's tremendously valuable, very important, and I think if someone told you, what can society do? What could society do? What should society do in order to guarantee the participation of the youth, of disabled youth? What would you say? What would be the answer? What do you think? What would you do? What would you say? Let's start with Abbas, please.
I think the society and the country and wherever we live, they should give us a chance like others, just the rest of the people that lives in our community. They should give us a chance so we can get out of there and show ourselves and and do something positive, and that way we can of course success is a very very hard thing, and it's for everyone, not just for disabled people, and we all have to be very successful, and that's what the disabled people has to pursue in order to be part of the society and be part of the community, and even by through the everything that the disabled person does achieve or something big, we can that way we can make our community our country or the world and make a better place, so we have the society should give us a chance to show ourselves and prove ourselves that we're capable of doing this. We may be slow or we may be not do it right away, but at some point we can be very useful and and be part of the society, because I believe that a lot of disabled people, if they have disability, they have the strongest mind, and the world can use their brain and their mind to how to make the world a better place, and how to and that way I think we can make the life easier for disabled people around the world, and make the life easier and open doors for them so they can participate in any event and keep showing and keep proving the people that we're positive as a human being and we are capable of doing anything.
Many thanks, Abbas. As you've just said, we are all the result of an opportunity, and we have to do things differently. We'll do things differently, and that's fundamental in order to be inclusive. And it's also important to have a strong mind, a healthy mind, as Antonio has said. For that, it's not necessary to have a cape to be a superhero. Let's continue with Irene.
Debemos trabajar con
We
las
should work with organization of disabled organization to see what we can modify and demand of the states, bearing in mind the convention and the law. In my country, people with disability suffer a health service, perverse health service that do not give us the necessary support needed, and a judicial system which is inefficient, that do not take into account our claims and violate our rights, and they do not protect us from the from what we suffer. We have the right to have an autonomous and independent life vis-a-vis our family, and to be able to study and have employment and a housing. We have to be able to develop our lives like every young person. We have to live. We can't live in a society where our rights are not taken into account or of no use. Absolutely. We have to focus on organizations, disability organizations, in order to do things so that the convention is done. And we also have to have our basic needs satisfied, like health, education. I totally share what you said about health, because in my country it's the same situation. The health service is very bad. Someone with disability doesn't have resources, then they suffer tremendously. So their condition actually gets worse if they don't have access to medical attention. Thank you. And have the next person, please. If someone asked you, what should society do, or what should change in order to guarantee full participation of young disabled people, what would you say? What options would you give in order to carry out these changes in society?
What I could say is that the society or the community should assist us to get equipments, especially to take us to the offices to do registrations, to get the equipments so that we can be independent. Secondly, the society or the community should give us a chance so that we can prove to them that we are capable and we can be independent like others. So they should hold our back and show us the love that we are just the same with others and we are the same with them, so that we can feel free and participate and stay together with them. Next, what I can say is that the society or the community should show youth with disabilities, indigenous youth with disability, that they also have that part in the community like other people. When they do something, they should introduce us to the cultural ceremonies. They should introduce us to the meetings which are taking place there and hold us to make sure that we are together with them. Hence, it leads us to feel that we are free in the community and we can participate like other people, and we see ourselves like them and see that we are equal, and also we are human beings like them. Although we have obstacles because of the disability, but we can live like them and participate and make decisions. They should also give us that chance. Thank you.
Many thanks. It's incredible what you've just said. Your response has been incredible. As you've just said, they should see us as their equal, and they should give us equality that we need in order to have the same conditions equal conditions like other people and have love, as you said, and empathy. I would use another word, empathy. I liked what you said, that young people, disabilities, we have to participate in these summits, in these meetings, high-level meetings, and in high-level conferences and politics, and have a function, a relevant position in order to change perceptions of young people, of people with disabilities in the world. Now, what can Mikhail say? I apologize for the pronunciation. Oh, sorry, Milicia, sorry, I apologize.
It's fine, no worries. Well, I'm still under impression after my fellow panelists were saying, so I don't know what to add, but it's important to involve young people in decision-making processes that concern them and their lives, also to empower and educate youth about their rights, and maybe the most important, to try and ask them what they really want and what would make their lives better and more fulfilling. As a society, and when I say society, I mean everyone, including people from typical population, we need to cooperate and we need to show that we care about our youth with disability, and we are ready to support young people and create a safe space for their personal development. And that's I'm trying to summarize everything people before me said, but that's the recipe to create a good environment for everyone.
I totally agree with you. I totally agree with what you just said. People with disabilities, we have to be present where decisions are made. They also should ask us what we actually want, what do we actually need in order to live with our peers, which are people without disabilities. The only thing that we do is we do things differently to them. But as people before said, the important thing is to be present in decision-making processes in order to change things, in our provinces, in our communities, in our countries. But all this is done participating as well as being active, doing activism, being active. Now, but not least important, let's hear what Natalie has to say. I think that the first thing that we should all do is try to understand what it means really to be disabled. I like the perspective of that many of us know of equality, but a disability, when it exists, where there's the objectives of a person and what the person wants to do, there's a discrepancy. So I'm going to give you a very easy example. Let's just imagine someone like myself who uses a wheelchair, has a work interview, and the entrance to the building where the interview is going to take place, there's some stairs. And at that moment, I'm totally disabled because I do not have a means, the way to obtain my objective, which is to enter the building for the interview. Let's imagine now that instead of that ladder, there was a ramp. Stairs, then I do not have that disability because I am able to obtain my objective, which is to enter the building for the interview. So we should understand that society plays a very important role as regards to the way they discriminate us or visited. It's true that we all have a medical condition. I have have my, but sometimes my disability, you do something depends on the grade of inclusion and accessibility of the society where I live. So under this definition of disability, we should start working on this on many things in order to make people aware of what's happening. It's true that we have to make people aware, make society aware, to treat people with disability as equals, as people who have the same dreams, the same ideals, etc. It's true that in some cases we need help, but we're not capable, we're not incapable of doing things. The thing is, we need means to help us. Uh, Sometimes people believe we're not interested in having fun or studying or reality, we do not have the opportunity to do these things due to the things that I mentioned previously. And I think that once this is broken, and that I think this is all broken, then we can have more opportunities. And I also believe it's very important thing that something that we should do as people with disabilities. We have a responsibility to have our voice heard, to transmit our message to society. I think it's someone who does not have a disability. It cannot, without disability, do not know what we do, what we live, what are our needs, and we therefore have to make our voices heard to say what we need, what we require. And society should not forget us.
Natalie, this that you're sharing with us and that you're telling us, talking about disability, well, it's very valuable to us because when we talk about this concept, the notion of society that's been rehabilitated, then, well, we see disability not as a condition or a limitation, but it's something to do with the environment created by society, so that you can see what disability is like. Is what you're saying. When we don't have this sensitivity, this empathy, or the possibility of having it, then we can see what disability is like in a full way. And then we have to show what these positive stereotypes look like. We have to base this on our disabilities. I've always said that we always see in soap operas the person with disabilities as someone in bed, someone very inactive, and the able-bodied people are shown like beautiful people, very active. And now we need to change this perception. Antonio, don't you love everything that Natalie shared with us? Indeed, I just love what she said. It's been very enriching. The rest of the panelists have shown us very interesting ideas. All the thoughts, the messages that we've received as well on Zoom are very interesting. We would really like to be able to listen to all of you. However, we've been reading your messages. We still are reading your messages, and we would like you to keep sending us your remarks and comments throughout the rest of the session. However, time is of the essence. Sometimes it becomes an enemy, especially when we are sharing a session with such important and amazing panelists. They have shown us very interesting lessons and very enriching thoughts. They've taught us many things, and now we have to analyze them and also use them in our daily lives, all these reflections. So what do you think, my dear Eileen? I would like to express my gratitude to our panelists, and even more so to the people who have been listening to us during the session. I would like to apologize because unfortunately we don't have enough time. And I have to conclude this session. It's been a wonderful time and session. What do you think, Eileen? Shall we give the floor to our colleague from UNICEF? She will give a final remarks to the session. Of course. She's Marisol Moreno Angarita. She's a member of the UNICEF regional office that works on disability issues. As my colleague was saying, she will give the final remarks. Thank you, Marisol. Thank you, Antonio. Thank you, Eileen. Thank you very much. We've been listening indeed to very straightforward messages. The message is clear. Young people want to be heard. Young people want to be part of the change. Antonio, Eileen, Milika, Natalie, Irene, Sipora, they've been sharing essential experiences, but very specific proposals as well. These messages need to be echoed during the global summit. We wanted to be there and be heard. And we keep going. This doesn't end here. We hope that these messages are heard in the whole global summit. I want them to listen to young people and to listen to the message that young people are here to stay, that they are here to contribute, so that we move from exclusion gaps to an equal society, so that we stop dramatizing and pathologizing and labeling people, because each young person is unique. Everyone is able. What's not able is institutions and international context. Society discriminates young people, but young people are able. Sometimes we don't include them in our houses, in our spaces. And as we've been listening during the whole session, no one deserves to live in a world without rights. We do hope that the message is clear and that we can amplify the voices of young people today. If we want to see a change, the change needs to happen now, here and now. This summit definitely is the lever. It's a way of leveraging our efforts into the future that we all want to have, the future in which we all live together. Thank you very much to the International Disability Alliance, the Youth Mental Health Norway, supported by the government of Norway. Also on behalf of UNICEF, thank you so much for this conversation. This doesn't end here, it keeps going. Thank you very much. Let's move forward with this empowerment, because the strength of young people is unstoppable. Thank you very much.
Hasta pronto. Muchas gracias.
See you soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much
Rosario?
to all the people, to all the attendees, to all the panelists, to the moderators. Definitely, I mean, you say something very important. I mean, now young people are the change. Young people are the present. They are not the future. They are the present. That's why, I mean, we really trust on you. We really trust in your abilities, and definitely you are going to do great changes. Thank you so much to all of you. Thank you so much, Marisol, for your words. Thanks so much to UNICEF and to Atlas Alliance and International Disability Alliance. Thank you.
Action 15. Ensure equal access to social protection.
We recognize and are candidate with Like EduAC and inclusive social protections programs for participants with disabilities, particularly yes. We commit to advocating for alternatives to social protections, skills, and programs that are inclusive of and accessible to youth with disabilities in their family, and that little social participation and inclusive of young with disabilities.